I have been a member of a writers group in Grand Rapids since early 2001, so it's almost 8 years now. We meet once a week, 6:30 to 9:30 every Wednesday night. And when I tell people who are in other writers groups that we meet every week for 3 hours, they just look at me in amazement. Most writers groups, once or twice a month is about all they can manage. And I think I've probably missed in the 8 years. I've probably missed 6 or 7 times. If my wife wants to go on vacation, I tell her we can leave Thursday morning, but we have to be back by the next Wednesday. So it really takes something to get me not to be in the writers group.
You've done both fiction writing, which is sort of what you've been talking about in your writers group, but also you've done considerable academic writing. You have do you have a textbook? I think you do, don't you?
My book, Exploring the New Testament World, has been used as a textbook in a number of college classes. So that piece of nonfiction scholarly writing, is out there. And I've done quite a few articles and reviews, things like that.
Is there a difference between writing that kind of nonfiction scholarly work and the fiction work that you've been drawn to most recently?
Writing scholarly work can differ quite a bit from writing fiction. Voice, we talk about voice in fiction. And two of my books now deal with Pliny the Younger. They're set in ancient Rome. And so there's a certain voice that I have to establish that sounds kind of like what Pliny might have sounded like if he were writing in English today. There's another book that I've done that the viewpoint character is an 11-year-old boy, and that's quite a shift to get myself back to being an 11-year-old. But the voice just has to be authentic. And even in the nonfiction writing, I don't think other scholars would get in touch with me and say, I didn't really like the voice in that article that you had in New Testament studies or whatever. But I have had a couple of people who've read my New Testament book who told me, I could almost hear you talking because your style just comes across, even in the scholarly writing. Scholarly writing, of course, you tend to try to impress people. And it is sometimes difficult to make that shift from using the erudite vocabulary and showing off your knowledge of the field and the literature and so on, to moving to fiction, where if you start doing that sort of stuff, they'll tell you, throw away your thesaurus, don't do an info dump on us here, work it into the story more naturally. I just would encourage anybody who wants to write on whatever level or for whatever purpose, find somebody, even if it's just one or two other people. You don't have to have, the writers group I'm in is, sometimes 20 people at a time. You don't have to have that many people, but if you can get even 2 or 3 readers who will give you an honest, unvarnished look at what you're doing and can tell you, they don't even have to be experts in your field. They can just say, I don't think you're really getting your point across here or whatever. But until you've had somebody read your stuff, you really don't know how good it is or if it's any good. And that's a very, very important step toward making yourself a writer.